All right, hello guys. So we are going to do an upper extremity sling next. We'll talk about this in lecture tomorrow, but I'm doing all my videos now. So two different options that you may get for your skill check would be a standard sling or a shoulder immobilizer. So I'm going to show you kind of what both attachments would look like. So this sling is dual purpose. It can serve as a regular sling, or it has the option to add the immobilizer abduction pillow and become an immobilizer. Okay, so I'll show you the standard sling first, and then I'll show you how we can add the abduction pillow. So for this sling, you guys, two different ways to adjust. They're universal, left or right, doesn't matter. You just have to adjust which way your sling is going to go. For this, if you're going to imagine that your patient has to maintain kind of this guarded position, let's say they have some type of a sublux, or if they have some type of a fracture and they're not able to move, we want them to be supported at all times. So whether me as the therapist, I'm helping them put this on, and they're the ones that are in charge and kind of guarding their arm, they can always rest it on something while they are putting it on themselves, which is all I'm going to do because I'm obviously just one person here. So let's say I have to put this on myself. Okay, so my patient needs to have their arm supported so that they can actually worry about putting the sling on. Okay, you as the therapist, obviously it's a little bit easier for them to hold and support the arm while you're working around them to put the sling on. Okay, but while you're educating them, this is an important part of their education, being able to put it on themselves. Okay, so for this, you guys, this hand portion is put together, so you have to make sure your patient puts their hand through it first before they go ahead and try to get to the elbow portion. And while my arm is supported on the table here, it's easy enough for me to kind of just lift up here, slide, and kind of work this underneath while my arm is still supported by the table. Okay, work that in. Elbow needs to go all the way back. I should feel olecranon process right back here, all the way back into my crease. I shouldn't see a whole lot of slack hanging out back here. Okay, elbow needs to be bam all the way back into that crease. Ideal alignment and length for someone is that on our pinky here, on our fifth metacarpal here, we are coming all the way out to our pip. Okay, so proximal interphalangeal joint, so not at our metacarpal head here, but one more joint out. That should be where the end of my sling comes to. So this one is pretty perfect for me, okay, but I have short arms. And this is a small, I think. Yes, this is a size small. So there's different sizes out there for your patients, okay? Ideally, we're supported all the way up until our pip, okay? Proximal interphalangeal joint. So now that my patient's arm is supported, I'm gonna make sure that I'm tight enough here, and it's gonna come up across my opposite shoulder, and it's easy enough for me to just loop through this little hole here, okay? And support my arm, and kind of follow my way and meet my Velcro. Okay, I never want my hand, you guys, especially if my patient is prone to edema or has some type of inflammation going on, I never want my hand hanging in a dependent position. Let me show you what I mean. If this is too loose, we can see that my hand is going to drop down here. This is going to allow for pooling of edema and fluid, okay? I always want to make sure that I am tight enough that when I am resting, okay, my hand is slightly elevated. I have a little bit more flexion in my elbow so that I don't risk pooling of edema. Okay, so I don't want to have any pulling in my fingers. So in terms of alignment, make sure that this is nice and flat, that there is no loose Velcro that could potentially, girls, watch your hair. This Velcro can get stuck in hair. I've had to detangle a bunch of hair from slings. Okay, so just be careful when you're placing. Make sure that this is nice and flat here, good alignment. If your patient does have irritation with this, usually I'll tell them like hoodies or, nice thick clothing here is a good way to give a little extra padding. They can always put a towel or something here if they do feel like it's irritating their neck. That's probably the most common spot where they might feel some irritation. In here, they can get a little bit of rubbing too. Very nice and easy to put a little soft piece of felt or something in there so that they don't feel like they're rubbing and irritating their hand. Okay, so this is my standard sling, nice and tight. Elbow is all the way back in my crease. Going to my fifth proximal interphalangeal joint over here so that my hand is nice and supported and hand is slightly elevated rather than hanging lower in a dependent position, okay? Never want that. I want to make sure that I'm at least at 90, if not slightly elevated, okay? So that is my standard sling. I'm now gonna show you that once I have this on, it is very easy to turn this into an immobilizer, okay? With our immobilizer, we have an abduction pillow that holds us in open pec position, okay? So the modification here is that this curved side is always what's gonna go against the patient's body, and this is Velcro that is literally going to stick to this sling. Okay, so when you have these two pieces together, you guys, they do come apart. So it's easiest to actually put the sling on the patient first so that they are actually supported. That way you can take the time and actually manipulate the abduction pillow then. Rather than going vice versa and trying to do the abduction pillow while their arm can still potentially hang, okay? So sling always first. That way now they can help kind of maneuver and support their arm. Here I come, and I'm gonna make sure my abduction pillow is in a good position. This is going to come out. This is going to come a little bit to the side of their body, you guys. Remember, think about your abduction in terms of my open pack position here. I'm not going to be directly in front of my body, right? I want to be slightly abducted. Okay, so I want a little bit of space there in order to create that nice open pack position for healing. So I am going to have this pillow a little bit angled on the side of my body. It's not going to be directly in front of me. Okay, that's not comfortable. This is in a nice open pack position. So now it's going to stick. So now, why isn't my Velcro sticking? Am I in the wrong side? There we go. Okay. So for this then, here I come. I'm going to wrap this guy all the way around, which is fun to do by myself. Okay. Where is my little guy? Hold on, I did not set this up ahead of time. Where's my little clippy? Hold on. Can't find my clip. Okay, my clip is on this other side. I didn't set that up ahead of time. So when this comes around the waist, you guys, all it does is clip in, bam, like that. Okay, so get it to a position where you are set up, bam, okay, underneath here. Lovely, bring this all the way around. Tough for me to do behind my back, as you can see, but maybe I can do it. Okay, clipped in. And now I can tighten from there. Again, I want this tight to my body, you guys, but this doesn't have to be something that is so tight. It's more so just to hold the pillow in place. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like cutting off circulation, as long as it's not letting the pillow kind of drop or fall anywhere. And that is holding me in my lovely open pack position. Okay, again, slightly off to the side of the body. I don't need to be directly in front of me. This pillow should not be, you know, directly in front of my abdomen. This is not comfortable. It needs to be slightly abducted off to the side so that it's nice and comfortable and supporting your patient, holding them in that open pack position. Okay, still needs to be aligned. Elbow still needs to be all the way back. Okay, that is my shoulder sling, so my standard sling, and then transitioned into my immobilizer. And you may see one or the other in your scale check. Okay, there you go.